Strength Warehouse presents Go Heavy or Go Home podcast. I am your host, Nate Boley. In this podcast, we talk about strength, fitness, nutrition, and all things Strength Warehouse related. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast, Season 2, Episode 4. Today we have Coach Mike here, our new head coach, and we're just going to shoot this one off the hip and kind of have a lot of fun. But we're going to be talking about Coach Mike's new role, what that looks like. We're going to roll into some programming, and we're going to roll into some new stuff we're doing, some semi-private stuff, and then we're going to wrap it all up with the powerlifting meet that we're going to this weekend. So, hey, Mike, welcome, and give a little speech.
Yeah, thank you. First want to definitely start by saying, thank you to Nate. I appreciate the opportunity. This looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I've been kind of working in, this is my 10th year actually in the fitness industry since officially starting and getting a job as a coach.
That's awesome. 10 years, that's a long time.
Yeah, little minor breaks doing just some online, not always in person, but 10 years going strong, so it seems like it's coming around at about a good time.
Yeah, that's great.
Really excited.
And you've been with us for, has it been 2 years now?
2 years.
Oh my gosh, time flies by so, 3 years this summer. Oh my God, time goes by so fast. It's crazy. We recently promoted you to head coach. What does that look like for you?
So it looks like doing a little bit more on the coaching development side. As new coaches come on board, coaches that we currently have are sticking around just as far as, helping develop any areas that they feel like they need assistance with that I can help with.
Yeah.
Whether that be just, the coaching one-on-one in general, maybe class coaching, programming, really
just
anywhere I can
stuff.
help. Yeah, just
any type
stuff.
of like personal and professional development. Megan and I decided that, we know that you're a great teacher. And we wanted to bring you on board with us and just help us deliver our vivid vision, which was having the best team that we can possibly have. Yeah. And the only way to do that is to grow together. And it's difficult as just the owners being like, hey, barking down the orders.
Yep.
And so we want, to work as a team and collaborate with all of our coaches together just to make sure that everybody's growing, at least in alignment with each other.
Yeah, and you guys are always super easy to come to. If I always felt like if we have any type of issue or need to bring something up, the open door policy here seems to be really easy to use.
It's not just a saying; it's the real life.
It absolutely, yeah. I feel super comfortable going to you guys if I have anything, and I think the other coaches do as well. But even then, going to the owners for something still sometimes isn't always the most comfortable thing, and so to be maybe that in between there, or even just being an ear for one of the coaches, they want to just complain about something or get something off their chest, vent a little bit. Not everybody always wants to do that to the owner, maybe. So it might be a good little position.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's great to have communication both from the bottom or not from the bottom, but you know what I mean? From the bottom up and then from the top down. That's the only way to have a true, transparent organization, and that's what our main goal is. I've worked in a lot of different organizations that were not that way. And it's very frustrating when you're trying to get things done. And the end-all goal is just to make sure the client is getting the absolute best experience they can. The only way for that to happen is to have completely clear communication lines open. So that was one of the main reasons. We really love the idea of just having a cultivated team, a leadership team that can just help us grow, and help the community, and then having just the best client experience. And I feel like we work really hard at that. Obviously, we're not, there's people out there that are probably better. They've been doing it for longer, but our goal is to continuously grow, and we've learned that with you as well, that you are very open to growing and expanding your knowledge in all different areas. So
there's
excited to have you on.
Get better.
Yeah. All right, man. So you've been taking on our programming for a while now, and basically you took what I was doing. Well, I was the original programmer, and I was very much we're doing powerlifting stuff. Megan took it over for a little while. We handed it off to you, and it's changed a little bit, which is great. I love it. What does it look like just currently for let's go through the two different offerings. So we have group training, which is strength training with barbells and kettlebells and stuff, and it's really form focused. And then we have our HIIT aspect of it. What does the strength training portion look like currently, and why are we doing it?
Yeah, so when I first took it over, it was, it wasn't bad by any means. I actually really enjoyed it. It's great for people jumping into some of the, new to some of the class setup. It was a lot of 5x5, almost like a 5-3-1 type look.
Yep.
You know, anybody out there familiar with Max Effort Black Box even kind of had a effect of that. You know, 5 heavy sets of something, maybe the next week 3 heavy sets. Or I'm sorry, 5 sets of 3.
On the Windler, right? Yeah, 531.
Yeah, 531 is.
It's a great program. There's nothing wrong with it at all, and you can get some great gains off of it. And it was. We kind of had run through like some different gamuts. Like we had did some West Side conjugate style stuff. We did some like my personal stuff, and then we did some 531. Mostly it was just things that Megan and I were doing, and we just compiled them together.
Right.
And which like whatever gave us the best results, and we had the most fun with.
Yeah, and like even the 531, the book. I mean, there's a ton of stuff in the back of that book. Is
100%. I saw
the accessories. Oh, it's
there's so many awesome accessories.
It's a great book, and it's a great look at how to set that stuff up. And so I still revert back to that book just for reference.
I need to find mine and then look back at it because it was. I remember being like, oh, I need to do that one.
Yeah. It's I sometimes use that with my own, just when I'm looking for something a little different. But I started to keep that almost conjugate feel to it. Now with every week we're doing what looks like a heavy day for one of the lifts. Whether it's squat, bench, deadlift, we're doing a heavy day. We're doing kind of a medium, mid-range day, moderate loads. Moderate sets and reps, and then we're looking for lighter days where we're really bumping the volume up, but we're keeping it super light with the intention of building, that athleticism and explosiveness.
More like building the GPV, right? General physical preparedness, not always going for the 1 rep max. How you coach all the morning classes, and we've talked to some of our coaches, but how are you seeing the clients' reactions from these, and are you seeing them hit better PRs and move better after changing this programming a little bit?
Yeah, I've seen recovery be a little bit better for people. They're not quite, they're not pushing to their absolute limit every time. You still have some people you got to kind of pull the reins back on because they just want to lift really heavy.
Right.
But you've definitely seen recovery improve. You've seen people's PRs. I think the last time we did 1 rep max, we had 2 different people hit
huge PRs.
Yeah, like a 60-pound PR in their deadlift for one, 40-pound on a squat for another.
Yeah. I've seen just in general like more people PRing when we do these PR weeks, or it's actually a month basically. It's 3 weeks for PRing instead of doing it all in one week. And so, that's awesome. Yeah,
so we're keeping our max effort days or our heavy days. They're, I guess, sub-maximal effort if we're being totally accurate. We're not going to 100% every time. We're looking somewhere in that like 90, 95% range. Yeah. As low as 85 on some of those days, just as we're breaking into new movements. Medium range, we're kind of sitting between that 65 to 75%. As high as 80 at most, and then the lighter days, we're keeping it pretty light. We're keeping it anywhere from like 50 to 65% of the 1 rep max.
And that's great. You don't really need to go any lower than that unless you're doing like a traditional taper or something like that. 55%, like you should be able to hit that for multiple sets, multiple reps, and then still be able to recover quite well.
Yeah, and it's light enough. It's kind of considered like movement practice. You can really dial in your technique with it and not be at a whole lot of risk for injury.
Yeah. The one thing that we found with the traditional like 5-3-1 or conjugate or any type of like specific powerlifting, including myself, and then I know your client Janet, she's getting ready to do a powerlifting meet here shortly. Yesterday she was walking out and we asked her how she was feeling. She's like, I'm just beat and I'm tired. And I was like, well, you're at the very top of the peak.
Yeah.
The volume and the loads have just been getting heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier. So it's very what's the word? You should be absolutely smoked right now. Then you take the taper off, which is that nice, short, going down to like 40% or so. Take a few days off, and then you should feel like golden.
Yeah. So we had her for 2 sessions this week, and both those sessions were like practice sessions. We were going over commands. Mm-hmm. We were doing a bunch of singles at a pretty lightweight, just to kind of get the movement down and just get her headspace in a good spot and have her recover well.
And you guys are working on techniques, and you're also working on commands and stuff like that. Yeah, I saw you guys doing that.
Yeah.
So basically, when you're doing a progressive overload, where it's just every week the squat, bench, deadlift are getting heavier and heavier and heavier, the fatigue is huge and happens really quickly. And then you find yourself like, well, I'm 1 week out of a powerlifting meet. Why? Or I'm 1 week out of my max effort. why is it less than it should be, or why do I feel like it's less?
Yeah, so when you're looking at the progressive overload, depending on what style you're doing, if it's just linear progression, you start to feel super beat up as it gets closer and closer. And if you don't take that recovery, then, it's going to reflect on the platform for sure. Or whatever competition you're going into.
Sure.
That little bit of recovery is super necessary with that taper.
And so the programming going forward, the intention behind that is because a lot of the clients that we have are not necessarily, especially in our class, group classes, are not necessarily going to be doing a powerlifting meet. Now, there's a few, and we're catering that to them, right? We're making sure that they're taken care of. We're making sure that they're kind of slightly one-off. But the majority of the class or the group clients that come in, they don't necessarily want or need that.
Right.
I think that's the intention behind the programming change a little bit.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, and that with the on-ramp setup everybody goes through before hitting these classes, everybody's getting kind of that little bit of feel of that linear progression. They're able to work in that, 5 sets of 5 reps, add a little bit of weight, and depending on how many on-ramps they do, nobody in our gym right now is like a brand new lifter. And if they are, they generally stay with those on-ramps a little longer.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
So, giving them a few different set and rep schemes that can build other elements of their fitness is, I feel like, really important, and it helps them. We can build some muscular endurance while at the same time also building some maximal strength.
Yeah. What about the strength camp classes? I know they've gone through quite a few different iterations of the strength camp class, and it's never been like I guess it has been a little bit, but it started out with me. I started the class out, and I wanted it to be like cardio strongman stuff. So we just literally did like everything, had all the implements for strongman stuff out there, and then it's just been this fluid movement class. What's the idea behind it right now?
So when I first started playing with it, it was a lot of Tabatas, a lot of intervals. There was definitely some of that strongman element in there as far as hitting some medleys, and the Tabata started taking over. It started being the majority of it was Tabatas, I would say, for a little while. And as we started to see that class develop, what we're starting to see now is we're starting to throw in different time domains. We're making sure we're giving people some skill work. So at the start of class, part of the warm up, just even last week we were doing Turkish get-ups and kettlebell work just to build the skill of how to do it.
Very few people can actually do it.
Absolutely.
I probably couldn't even do it right now. If I had a kettlebell, I probably couldn't. I don't practice it enough.
And a lot of it is, some of these people just haven't been really exposed to how to do it. And, kettlebells are a challenge. They're 100%. Weird to throw around, and if you don't do it right, it hurts more.
It hurts more, absolutely. Yeah, and it's very awkward. Yeah.
It is.
Just like doing like a clean and press or whatever with it.
Yep.
If you don't let that kettlebell roll correctly, it's going to whack right on your freaking ulna and radius, and that hurts. It does not feel good.
Absolutely, just beats your wrists up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we started looking at, I started implementing some type of skill development there as part of the warm up. And we don't do it every day. Sometimes we're doing like some type of core work, which we have a skill element to it as well, because we've been doing L-sit practice and just doing regressions for that and progressions. And as we have handstand camp coming closer, that's coming up in March, I do believe, correct?
Yep, March 11th, I believe.
That's right. Tuesdays, Thursdays at 2:45 to 3:45.
Yeah, that's right.
We're going to probably start continuing to throw in some of that gymnastic side so people can get a little exposure and see kind of an idea of what some of the things they might see in that camp.
100%. So you think that one's going to be a good segue? Tiara is going to call it, she wants to call it strength and conditioning camp.
Right.
Which has an emphasis on shoulder and core mobility and strength and stability, I should say. You think that's going to be a great segue into kind of what strength camp is morphing into in the future?
Yeah. And then not taking away the strength element from those days, because we don't want, we basically stick to a pretty squat, bench, deadlift setup for Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
But then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, a lot of times people are just coming in and they're just getting the conditioning aspect and maybe missing an opportunity to get in some heavy overhead presses every now and then, or heavy lunges.
Yeah.
Just something different from what we're doing on the other days, without repeating the same movements.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we don't want to double up, triple up all the time and beat people up and ruin their recovery, but just give them exposure to other elements that maybe they're not getting on a weekly basis.
If somebody walked up to you today and just said, "Hey, what's strength camp about?" Like, how would you define that class to them? How would you let them know what to expect and what it is?
I think I would tell them it is a great way to build your general physical preparedness, just your general fitness that'll help in any aspect of life, whether it's sport or just daily moving and going to work.
It's not super specific, but it's just a generalized, have fun, get some movements in, work on some techniques, and also get sweaty and have that heart pumping a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah. Some days are longer, to where we do a 25-minute workout of just constantly. We did an all body weight 25-minute workout just the other day.
I see what you're doing. You're trying to turn us into a CrossFit team, aren't you? It's been his plan since day one. I will transform this gym back into CrossFit.
But then we also throw in some barbell stuff in there. We have a lot of dumbbell work in there. We throw in that single leg, single arm elements in there. Just trying to keep everything very well rounded. So any type of weak points we're seeing in everybody's big lifts, that squat, bench, deadlift, we can hopefully clean up any of those weak points through that strength camp.
Awesome. Cool, man. Well, I think the programming's awesome. And like I said, we've all been kind of collaborating a little bit. I know it gets really difficult to program. You get in like your own headspace and you get a little bit of like the blinders on and stuff like that. And I think you've done well in like asking for help, and we're probably not always the best at giving you help on that, but we're trying. And I think that obviously, always evolving programming for the clientele and what their goals are is absolutely key. Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to have people that are just like, I don't know, they're just not going to reach the goals that they want to go, and they're going to find somewhere else to go and stuff like that. So now you have to stick with we want to stick with the core basics because we're not CrossFit and we don't do constantly varying, movements and stuff like that. But it's just a different modality. But having a little bit of different aspects of like how it works and evolving the programming over time is very good. So
changing, and the constant variation does still happen, but if you look at any,
this is not day to day.
Exactly. Like we're going to keep it the same a little bit. If you look at any of the conjugate programming or concurrent programming, it does change really often because we want to avoid that law of accommodation. We want to make sure people are constantly being able to build a skill and then change it before it starts degrading that skill. Or that's that element of their fitness.
For sure.
So it's been a lot of fun, and I have had definitely quite a bit of help and assistance from everybody around, asking coaches for ideas and assistance and stuff. So
but a lot of times people come in, they're like, well, I don't want to do powerlifting. I'm like, well, it's technically powerlifting, but you don't have to be a competitive powerlifter. It's just using the modality that we use to get you to your goals. And we feel like it's a really efficient way to do it.
Well, I think people also may have a misunderstanding of, it's powerlifting is the name given to the three movements that somebody decided to put together and put on a platform. If you're going to go squat someday and then bench another day and deadlift another day, that doesn't make you a powerlifter. Mm-hmm. That just means you're using exercises.
You're using lifts that are coined as powerlifting to do what you want to do.
Name it something else if you want. Whatever makes you feel better.
What's that? Mike O'Hearn named it
power building.
Power building is really similar to what we do. You use the big lifts, but you just do it for more reps.
Well, CrossFit and interval training, if you look back in the 60s, there was a guy that was writing about interval weight training. And it was basically a very similar type setup. It was a little less constant variation as far as the different not modalities, but the different time domains.
Okay.
But it was essentially the same. It was a interval training system. And it's a great system, but utilizing different elements and all these little parts and pieces, trying to be like the Bruce Lee of strength and conditioning, use what works and discard what doesn't.
For sure. Hey guys, real quick, if you get value out of these 20 to 40 minute podcasts, imagine what it would look like if you could just get back to doing what you love, knowing that your strength and health and fitness are being taken care of. So if you want to get stronger and you want to be more healthy, but you don't really know what you want to do, hit us up. We'd love to have a chat. All right, guys, back to the podcast. And the other thing about the classes, I've also had people being like, they're traditional powerlifters, like, well, that's just not going to work for me. I'd say that's completely wrong. We have lots of people who are record holders that come to our gym that do our classes, and they do just fine in the powerlifting world. Actually, better than just fine, especially if you're a record holder. That's why we do. It's kind of a hybrid thing. You can cater to both, and we can mold it a little bit. Like I said, if you're going to do a powerlifting meet, like we have one coming up this weekend, it's really you can mold it to help that athlete out, because it's not going to be exactly that way.
Yeah, and it's these workouts are not carved into stone and you must do it or we're gonna kick you out. It's every single day we're modifying something for somebody.
100%.
Whether it's making it harder, making it easier, or just changing up what they're doing or the implement they're using. It's always changing, so that way we can meet. I mean, that's the whole point of having the coaches here. Is to be able to make sure that the member is getting the work in the way that's going to best suit them.
Absolutely.
So if somebody doesn't want to go to 80% on a day, or they come in for a heavy day and they're like, I'm feeling wrecked, I can't do a heavy day. Guess what? You don't have to. We can dial it back.
And I tell that to a lot of people when they come in for our consultations. They're like, well, what if? And I'm like, well, first of all, stop putting roadblocks in front of you. You haven't even started yet. Second of all, that's why we're here. We can modify it for you. If something hurts, doesn't feel good, you didn't sleep, whatever, we can make it work. That you're still going to get some similar movements, but you're not going to add to the stress level, add to the the body pain and all that type of stuff. All right, man, let's move into something that's kind of exciting that we've been working on now for a while, and that you personally are going to be spearheading this with the help of us, but you're going to be the one spearheading it. And that's some semi-private stuff. So talk to me a little bit about that. What is it going to look like? And potentially what objections would people have going into this type of thing?
Yeah, so the semi-private sessions essentially are just more than one individual working their own individual plans at the same time with one coach.
Yep.
This is not another group fitness class. This is not two people coming in and they're going to do the exact same workout regardless of their goals. They're going to have individual plans, and the coach is there to basically watch, me at first because I'm spearheading, but eventually the other coaches. We're going to be still coaching. We're going to be sitting there making sure they're conducting the plan as it's written, or to the best of their abilities it's written. What I think the biggest objection is, I'm not getting, I might not be getting the full attention, and I don't feel like I don't want to pay the same amount if I'm going to be missing out on some of the attention. But 10 years doing this, I can tell you right now, there's a lot of times during one-on-one sessions where you may not even be talking about strength work. You may not even be talking about the workout, and you're resting. So during some of that rest period, a coach could step away and make sure that somebody else is now performing their movement correctly. We do it every day in the group training. We can watch several individuals at one time to make sure the plan's being conducted properly.
And so somebody told me this the other day. They're like, if you think that you cannot get a good, or the right attention with just having one person, think about how surgery's performed. When they're teaching surgery, I think there's that summit. Remember that picture? It's like one doctor is teaching a group of people how to perform surgery. Now they get some individualized stuff in schooling and stuff like that, but come on, guys! It's movement, and we can help you out with that, and it doesn't have to be individualized. Now, Coach Tierra and I were talking. Some people, a lot of people, semi-privates wouldn't work very well, because we were talking about one lady that she's working with, that they're working on her gait. Right. That's very difficult to work 2-on-1 with that, because they need a lot of work, and maybe somebody's over here barbell squatting, and then we're trying to show this person how to walk straight or walk correctly. So that's a type of area where semi-privates probably wouldn't work well for you. But once you've gotten a good understanding of what you're doing, and you don't really need somebody to count your reps, then it's nice to be like, hey, I'm going to be your movement coach. I'm going to make sure your plan is good. And then when you're not working out, I'm going to walk over here and make sure that person's as well.
Semi-privates are not for everyone.
I agree.
Some people need a little more dialed in attention until they can get a solid base level of fitness or athleticism, or even just building certain movements back, maybe coming back from an injury, or they've just been away from working out for so long, they might need that extra attention first.
And the other thing is, some people really like just to come in and have the banter and have somebody watching out for them and hanging out with them, and it's their time and their space, and we're not saying that's bad at all. We absolutely will cater to that.
100%.
We're just saying, hey, sometimes this makes sense, and this is something we're going to be offering.
I think what might get forgotten about is maybe the motivation of seeing somebody else in there at the same time,
100%,
performing a similar movement, and that motivation, seeing somebody else push when you maybe have a little bit of self-doubt on certain movements, or you're trying to build your confidence in the gym. that can spark some serious gains there.
Yeah.
You know?
I definitely notice that when I'm back in the gym by myself working out. I'm like, find myself like, come on, I don't want to do this right now. Looking outside, oh, there's a bird, that type of stuff. Oh, Instagram, and then I have somebody else in there like yourself or maybe Megan or somebody else is in there working out. We might not even be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But I still have that extra like, hey, he's doing something over there. He's he's putting some effort in. Okay, I'll get to it.
Hey, and even seeing somebody else. That's why I think we're going to try and put people that are as similar as we can get, or people that will work together well at the same time in
absolutely.
the same sessions. Because you might see somebody doing a movement and go, hey, why are they doing that stretch?
Yeah.
Oh, well, they're having an issue with their hip.
Yep.
I've been having an issue with my hip. And then, this can create more spread of knowledge.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, you may be coming in and doing something really similar to something.
Yeah.
Like you might be, hey, lower body day on Monday or whatever, upper day body on Tuesday, whatever you guys are doing. It's just not going to be the exact same program. So the idea is that semi-private clients are going to have their programming they already know what it's going to be like when they come in for the day. As we're like a one-on-one, it can be very customized. Like, hey, Mike, dude, my knee's bugging me today. I know we're supposed to do squats, but it's just been really bugging me. And you're like on the fly. Like, hey, we're gonna switch this up for you. And the semi-privates won't be quite as much as that. It'll be more of like, hey, this is what we're doing. And of course, if the knee hurts, we can modify that type of stuff. We're not going to completely revamp the whole programming for that one day.
Yeah. If their knee hurts and it's a light squat day, we'll squat heavy.
Yeah. No. if the knee hurts, push it till it breaks. Okay.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's definitely a little bit more customization that can happen with just the one-on-one, but that doesn't mean we can't modify.
Well, customization on the day we can absolutely modify, but it's not like we're going to switch the programming completely apart. And and that could be the thing as well. If they know what their programming is for the week, and they're like, I'm coming in tomorrow, and tomorrow's upper body day, you could switch it. Just be like, hey, you're going to do day 2, and you're going to do day 1, but we're not going to customize the day, right?
And so that's where good communication comes down to it as well, between the coach and the athlete.
100%.
It's a
two-way
we
street.
know what's going on. We can make modifications before you show up, to where you're not standing there wondering, all right, we got to get started. My session time is running down, but we're having to rewrite a plan. We can avoid all that.
100%. Yeah, you can just get right to work and that type of stuff. So we're excited about that. We're rolling it out. It's mainly going to be around the times that are very busy. Which is between like 8 and 10 kind of currently right now, and then maybe some afternoon type stuff where the busiest times are, so we can help more people get in and get fit and get healthy and get strong.
As I've seen my schedule grow and get busier and busier, I'm literally at a point right now where I don't think I can add another person unless I start doing more than one person at a time. And I hate turning people away. I want to try and help everybody that comes here that I can. And so if we can just get people going in at the exact same time, we can help a lot more people.
100%. And then the other thing, as a client perspective, if you got 8 clients in a row, dude, you're smoked by the end of the day. That's huge. The most I've done, I think, is 6 in a row. And man, my brain was, like mush by the time I was done. And so it's keeping the coaches on point, keeping them fresh, and allowing them to not burn out.
Absolutely.
That's one huge thing that happens in the industry is people go, I'm gonna do one-on-one sessions. They don't charge enough to actually make a good living, so they have to work a ton of hours, and then over a short period of time, usually, they get burned out, and then they're on to something else. And so unfortunately those coaches have a very huge passion on helping the world, and they don't end up seeing the light. So that's what we're working towards right now, is having a really awesome crew with the help of Mike, and just making sure that they can give our clients, again, the best experience possible.
The longer we can do it, the more people we can help, right?
100%. All right, let's wrap this up. We have a powerlifting meet coming up this weekend, the Pacific Northwest 2024 Championships over in Springfield, Eugene. I'll be reffing my first international ref meet. I don't have my gray shirt yet. I'm so ticked about that. Hopefully it'll come today or tomorrow morning. But I'm just gonna put a little piece of tape that says international referee instead of national referee. So I'm super excited about that. I think we have 5 people, 4. I can't remember. It started out with 7, and then it's tapered off. That's what happens every time. But you have Janet that you're working with.
Yep.
And that's it currently, right?
Currently.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And so you're going to be helping her out. Yeah, you're excited?
Absolutely. Yeah, she's made a ton of progress. Her bench has improved a bunch. She actually, during this whole training cycle, working up to this one, she PR'd her bench and deadlift.
Cool.
And we're going to see some good stuff on the platform from her for sure. She gets this extra amount of energy, just being in that space at the meet, all the adrenaline that's coming from the excitement of all the people watching, and we always see big lifts from her. So I'm excited.
She puts a show on the platform for sure. We're excited to see her.
Absolutely.
You got a couple ladies that are online clients that are coming, Erin and Donna as well, and Erin, she's going to open up with her last meet's third attempts.
Awesome.
So that's huge, right? And that was just a few months ago. Donna is set to break a couple records again. I think Erin has some records, and I think Janet's going to be able to break some records as well. So we're excited to see that. We can't unfortunately break any world records at this one because it's not the correct sanction. You have to have an IPL meet to do that. But man, you've had a lot of experience now. I mean, you've had a few meets under your belt, but big level meets. Like one you referee, or not I referee, but you coached Janet and Karen through Worlds.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was really
Not
cool.
very many coaches very short term get to do something like that. It was a learning experience for all of us. I'd never really done that either. So actually, it was my second time, but they're like back to back, right?
Right.
So that's exciting. The only crappy part is that it snowed a bunch here, and we got to drive over the mountain to go to Eugene. Not looking forward to that, but yeah, we're excited about our lifters, and Megan always just gets super jazzed up about coaching as well, and I enjoy refereeing, and so yeah, I think we're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, it's always super motivating. Get to bring back some of that motivation and excitement.
I know. Every time I go to one, no matter what I do, I'm always like, man, I want to go and lift something. I want to go do a powerlifting meet, and then the motivation wears off. Right. That's what goes into my motivational podcast. Is motivation comes and goes, but consistency is what actually gets you across the finish line.
Yeah, this one was going to be a meet for me as well. I changed that up. There's a jiu-jitsu competition coming up in April, so I started shifting my focus to be a little bit more towards getting some mat training in.
That's fine.
But we'll be hitting a lifting meet at some point soon.
Cool.
Probably this summer.
Awesome. Yeah, the Summer Strength Wars. I think it's going to be mid-July this year. Trying to play it by ear because we have nationals coming up right before it, and then there's another high level meet in August, and I'm like, how do I manage these meets? But that's kind of what it looks like right now. But cool, man. Anything else that you want to throw out there to the world of podcasts?
I want to thank all the members of the gym that we see every day. Without you all, we wouldn't be here coaching. We wouldn't have anybody to coach.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks for being coachable.
Yeah. All the input, people give, we try to implement that the best we can. We just want to give you all a good experience, and so thank you again to you and Megan to give me the opportunity to grow and to make a career of something that I love. Yeah. So
we're excited.
It's been awesome here, and looking forward to seeing you all in class.
I never expected to ever have a full-time employee and give somebody opportunities to grow, and it's been very rewarding and also extremely terrifying. Sometimes I don't sleep well at night. That's all right. I'm working on that. But all right, man. Well, thanks a lot for being on the podcast. I know we both got clients that we're getting ready to train here, so we'll cut it off. But guys, I'm gonna leave you like I always do. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And everything you want in life is on the other side of your fear. So get out there and take some action. Thanks for joining us on this epic journey of strength. If you liked this episode, please leave us a review and share with a friend. To stay connected, hit that subscribe button. All right, until next time, go heavy or go home.